Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
Alright, boys and girls, this is Ron from Romo Art, also from Sector 7. Alright, take 2. Nope.
Good evening. What's up?
How are you?
You know, I feel like I just repeat the same thing every Monday. It's just like it's Monday and I'm just beat like every single one. Yeah. No, it's really true though. Like the last week, it's just been a whirlwind since I've talked to you last. It's crazy.
But if I asked you on a Tuesday, would you be like, "Oh my God, I'm doing fucking amazing on this Tuesday"? It wouldn't really matter.
No, because I'd be working my second job right now on a Tuesday. So, you know, like it just when I say I'm tired, it's like it's a legit thing. Like I'm seriously sitting here going, when I think about how much stuff was packed into the last week, it blows my mind. I know everyone's got stuff, so I don't mean just sound like I'm griping, but it's just mind blowing to me.
Well, hey, the good news is only like 35 more years.
Right.
No big, no big
until
deal.
I'm kind of a heavier dude, so I will hopefully die long before then. Because retirement is not in the cards for me. I'm never going to be well off enough to retire. I'm going to be teaching.
Most people won't. That's the boomers took the retirement. That idea is gone now. That's not...
Lord willing, I will be teaching when I'm 80. Be like, you get back in my day.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be doing one of those at the front of the classroom and just, right. Yeah. Pretty much. So yeah, no, I'm good though overall. I'm in decent spirits. I've found some second wins today from somewhere. So
nice.
How are you? How was your week?
Well, I mean, it's Monday. So see, you're already saying how was your week, and it's the first day of the week, so that tells me how your day was. But I mean, it's I don't know, yesterday was a new moon. I think it was yesterday. And the circus, the circus is in town, man. Work was a total shit show. Absolute. Every loon came in. Even loons that I saw last week were in again today, just to like double me up, and just it was unbelievable. There are certain people. So this is, the moon thing is real. The frequency stuff is real, because there are certain customers that I only see during a new moon, and they don't even realize that, but I do, because when they come in, I check the calendar and I'm like, oh, it's 2 days away, or it was yesterday. They don't know what they're doing. They're just being influenced by the reality script, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go get some vitamin C, but it's always on like a new moon. So that's how I sometimes know when I'm not keeping track. I'm like, man, I got here at 10. Well, I opened at 10. It's 11 o'clock. I'm ready to go home. And then I look, I'm like, I wonder if, and I Google it. I'm like, oh, okay, 3 days away, the new moon or the full moon. New moons are usually worse. And it was a goddamn circus today. It really was. So I am just hanging in there. I've been trying to fast. I was doing really good with like fasting until I came home. So like I'd stop eating at like 10 o'clock at night, and then I wouldn't eat all day until like 5:30. And I've been buying like chips lately around like 1 o'clock. And I try today. I was like, man, I'm not going to do it. I got to get back into a straight like long fast. And I got through enough. I got through a bunch of customers, and then like some other shit happened, and I'm like, nope, too much. I'm going to get some chips. You win, Matrix. I'm going to get some
what's funny?
Chips.
You and I, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about fasting around the same.
We did it at the same time.
Period of time. What's weird is like ever since then, like I feel like I've completely fallen off the horse myself. Like I'm struggling. I've definitely put on like 20 pounds in the past couple of months. I'm just like, and obviously that didn't just happen since the last time we were fasting, but
yeah,
I'm just struggling to get back in control of things. And it's been hard when you're so busy. Like for me, I can do a lot of things, but I got to have the gym to kind of balance me out. And because I'm doing a lot of things, and at the end of the day, like by the time I get done with this, it's going to be really late. I'm not getting to the gym tonight. I got my youngest son here, and that it's just not going to happen today. So I've got to figure out a different routine where I have a space to work out at home again and do those sorts of things. Because I tell you what, without that, it makes everything else so much harder to control. So I've got to get back on the horse.
I've lost more weight. Thank God. I've definitely lost more weight. And
I found it.
And it went to your house.
That's right.
But I got to keep doing it. That's the thing. I want that, like that 40 pounds that I still got on me. I want it off. I want it gone. So, I mean, I'm getting there. And honestly, fasting is just the fastest way to do it. It really is. It's the fastest way to do it. And honestly, I was like, man, I'm sick of thinking about food. I'm sick of thinking about, so I'm actually like a legit, like I am, everyone's got their little bag of shit that they got to carry around. Mine is, I am an addict. I'm an addict for food. I never get drugs. I never get drugs. Yeah. I never smoked. I never drank. I never even drank coffee. I did nothing, but I ate to just drown my sorrows. You know what I mean? Yep. So like when I'm fasting, literally, like I've known a few drug addicts very personally. When I'm fasting, my eyes are burning. When I'm fasting on a day like today, right, where the stress is piling on, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing good. And then like that one more bit of bad news, and it's like, fuck it. Like, what is that? Romo's hot face, red heart. I'm like that one last bit of bad news. I'm like, fuck this. So I went next door and got some chips. And I think about my addict friends that when they said fuck this, it was literally hard drugs. It was leaving their family for days and doing hard drugs. And I'm like, that really sucks. And that makes me feel like a pussy too. Cause I'm like, I can't even say no to chips, and they got to say no to like fucking crack and shit. You know what I mean? But
so here's
the wiring is kind of the same. I get the wiring is the same.
It is similar. Now, I don't think that it's the same type of pull.
I don't think so either. I think their demon is way bigger.
But the key thing to remember is we have to flirt with it every day. That's or at least, you know,
you're right.
On a relatively regular basis.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're like a drug addict and you have to take a little bit of drugs every few days or else you're gonna die. Like, I mean, unless you're like super addicted, but once you're clean, you don't have to go back to it, right? For us, like we get clean and we have to consume something. Now, it doesn't have to be something we like. It doesn't have to be something full of carbs and sugar and all those addictive things, but we have to eat. And the thing that I have noticed over the past couple of weeks is, one, I'm just as capable of being addicted to food again as I ever was. Like it
never goes away. Me too.
I felt like absolute garbage. And I had a gout flare up from it, like which I maybe get one flare up every year or two now. But I started eating like crap. I got a gout flare up. My whole body aches. I feel awful. I don't want to move.
You've got inflammation. You got
and then at the same time, I want more food, and it's like this is stupid.
That's why I started fasting. I'm like, I'm sick of thinking about food. I'm thinking about food constantly, right? And I'm thinking about food while I'm eating food. I'm like, food is the fucking problem. I'm sick of thinking. I'm just sick of thinking about it. I really got irritated with just the thought of it. So that's why I fasted. So 2.5 days, no food, no nothing. And I'll tell you what I learned was you can get a lot more done when you're not thinking about food.
Absolutely.
I can wake up and just go to work, and I don't need like another 40 minutes to make my shake and get all my vitamins ready and all the little things all the little prep you got to do.
Right.
It's gone. It frees up literally hours of your day.
I agree.
I also realized that for some reason, and I don't know why, it's definitely hormonal, but I'm less moody. Even my Tourette's, my facial tics that I have, those are even better when I'm not eating food. So there's some sort of biochemical hormonal thing that happens when I eat. I'm actually more cranky, which you would figure I'd be miserable when I'm not eating. I'm not. I'm better when I'm not eating. It's very strange, dude.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, honestly, I never feel better physically than when I'm fasted. Like, and especially once you get over the craving stage, and I fast for more spiritual reasons, and that, so when I do multi-day fasts, when I do intermittent fasting, that's just weight loss stuff.
Yeah.
But I have done multi-day fasts, believe it or not, and usually by day 3, I feel like $1,000,000. If I get to day 3, I feel awesome, right?
I got to the 3rd day. I was 2.5 days, and at that day, I did fall off. I wanted to get. I figured maybe for me it might be day 4 or something when those hormones kicked in, and you're like, "Holy shit, I feel amazing." It took longer. It didn't hit me on day 3. I thought it would, and it didn't. I'm like, I'm not making it another day.
The longest one I ever did, and this has been a few years now, but the longest ever one I ever did was 7 days. I went.
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do 7 to 10.
7 days was tough. And again, this was more for spiritual reasons than anything. Day 5, I remember being very difficult. Like, I remember
Really?
day 5 was really tough. I was very, very tired. I wanted to sleep most of the day. I hurt. And I just remember being really struggling with like the hunger pangs and things like that. But 6 and 7 were fine. I felt like by day 7 I could have kept going. It was weird. But you know, I did break it then finally. But fasting has been in my life, I have found that if I can control my appetite, everything else is cake.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre. Like I can have complete self-discipline as long as I can control my appetite. And unfortunately I haven't been able to do that recently. That's not been going well for me. So but
Hello, Madness Network.
that was a nice little talk. People probably think we're a little nutty, but
Well,
it's okay. We are.
I think we're the only ones watching, but maybe. I think we're a little nutty, but that's okay. We have 4 viewers? Holy shit. Holy shit. It is crazy town.
Yeah, right.
So this topic was not fasting, but that's just how we work.
No.
This topic today was your idea. So it is how the internet influenced collecting.
I came up with it kind of on the fly because obviously
there must be a reason though, because I don't really have. I think it's made it easier, but actually less exciting in a way. But I'll talk about that. I want you to go first.
Yeah. So one, I've collected a number of different things over the years: cards, video games, toys, comic books, the whole 9, right? And still do to a certain extent in all of those areas. But the internet, and I put in our description when I shared this out, like kind of like the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because you're right, the internet did make collecting easier. There are items I would never know existed without the internet. In fact, I think the vast majority of collectibles that exist would not exist without the internet. Like, you would not have the variety of collectibles that you do today. I think back to the 90s, and the scope of what was available was so limited. And it's not just because more time has passed and they've released more things. They are hyper specialized now to where they know people are watching for the stuff. They're trying to hit a taste for everyone, right? Because we're so used to this gratification, and like it's got to speak to me personally type of thing. Where back in the 90s, they were just like, listen, you take what you get.
This is what there is. You're gonna want it, so just fucking shut up. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Especially as a Godzilla fan, a kaiju fan, and some of that more obscure stuff. And I kind of wanted to like really go back. Do you remember like the early days of eBay and things like that?
I will say yes, I remember the early days, but I never used it. So I have no hands-on experience with the early days of eBay and stuff like that.
It was really it was like a whole new world at the time. Like, now granted, I was probably a little late to the party. I'm thinking around 99, 2000. And then we really got into it more probably around 2001 through 2003, in my household growing up. But
I got to say, so I didn't even know it existed in 2001. I didn't even know it goes back that far. I didn't know that.
I think eBay was 95-ish.
Shut up. Are you serious?
Let me see. History of eBay. Let's find out. September was founded in September 1995. So and then in 1998 they brought in another person to kind of take it to the next level. Looks like, but yeah, So
shit,
I was probably in.
No, so I have no experience with early eBay.
Early eBay was something else, and it was exciting because you really could get neat stuff for a deal, especially if you knew how to play the game. It was like a game, and it was mostly, there wasn't a lot of buy it nows back then. I don't even know if buy it now was a thing yet. When I first started using it,
it wasn't. No, that came later.
It did, yeah. It did come later, and then I just remember if you had someone who listed their thing, so where it ended at like 1 or 2 in the morning, like Eastern Standard Time, like sometimes that was like the best time, or maybe like I think like 3 or 4 in the morning, because no one was up, especially during the week. Like no one was up, so you could snag like crazy stupid deals. And it was just really wonderful, and it gave you an opportunity to see all the things that you didn't even know existed, and that was pretty cool. I started selling. I was only about 16 actually when I started selling on eBay. I used my parents' account and was selling on there, and you were able to make a decent amount of money. And this was kind of like the double-edged sword, because as it grew, like you were able to go into thrift stores, and this is back when Salvation Army and Goodwill and all those things, like you could still find really awesome deals because they weren't using eBay.
Yeah.
They were, taking whatever was donated and they were slapping yard sale prices on it. And it was this really great thing. You could go out and find some amazing deals out there. And that kind of leads me to my next point, is because I really enjoyed thrifting too at the time, and even since, but the internet has almost made that not fun, because now some may say, well, you're using the internet, why shouldn't they? And that's fair, but they're also having these things donated to them. So if you're being given something, and let's say, whatever, it's worth $20, and you're charging, $20, like, okay, well, I can just go on eBay and get that, or I can go on Amazon and get it for that. Like, I'm going to a thrift store because I want to find a deal. I want to find something I can't get anywhere else. And unfortunately, that's no longer the case, I feel like, as much. So that's one of the ways I feel like the internet has been really a benefit, is, like you said, makes it easier, and yet at the same time, because it's become so easy, every Joe Schmo now, it's also perpetuated the idea that whatever someone has is worth a fortune, because they're you don't know enough
until you go to sell it and you realize how worthless most shit is.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, I have seen people try to sell like the original Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt cartridge, nothing special, not brand new, no instruction booklet, beat up, the stickers being peeled off, and asking, labeling it rare and asking for $50. And you want to just be like, dude, there's like 25 million copies of those. There ain't
That's
nothing
the thing.
rare about it.
Old isn't rare. Old
right.
does not mean rare. Rare is rare. And there's such a distinction. Like, people, even when I was selling my shit for rent, fucking a month ago, I was selling all my old toys for rent. He straight up told me, now, because I didn't look everything up, Fox Prowl got, Fox Prowl, our local store,
right,
got a great deal on most of my shit, because I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to spend 3 weeks looking shit up and trying to price everything. here's a bunch of my shit I've had for 40 years. Give me a price. And he was always good. But it got to the point where, and this is the interesting part, I kept keeping all this shit that I really didn't want to sell. I just kept putting that off. And I had so much stuff that it didn't really hurt me. I've got stuff when I was 5 years old, right?
Right.
That's the shit that he can sell for good prices like crazy, right? But all this shit that I thought was really cool that I didn't want to sell was worthless.
Right.
So when I got to the end and I'm like, I don't really want to sell this, it's like, it's McFarlane stuff, right? And it's really cool looking, all the details, which sparks, an interest in me. The fact is, McFarlane's not that old. And even if it is old, there were fucking billions of them. And
right.
So he's basically, he told me, he's like, I see mostly McFarlane stuff in that bin. I really can't sell those. That those will sit on my shelf forever. And I'm like, this is the shit that I don't even want to sell because I love it. So even shit that you love in the market is worthless a lot of the time.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to find that out. I used to actually manage a pawn shop. Oddly enough, probably shortly before before I met you? I think
it was before, I think.
It was. Yeah, because I remember I actually left there because they wanted they were a little shady. So let's just put that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the owners were pretty shady. Right, totally unheard of.
You never hear that.
I loved my time there. I generally got along with the one owner. There was two at the time. I genuinely did like my job, and I thought it was a lot of fun. But they asked me one night to hide some stuff after the police called looking for it. I always worked well with law enforcement. I had already told them I had it, but they said, hey, we want you to, I called them, let them know the police were coming for it. They told me to lock up, and they would send someone down overnight to take the stuff out and transfer it to another store. I'm like,
you told them that you had it.
I'm like, I already told them that I got it. Like, I'm not doing that. And that was the last.
Now you're hiding evidence. What the fuck?
Yeah. So that was the last night I worked for them. But yeah, right. So, but in the process, I had so many folks come in, and they'd have these collectibles, things that was labeled collectible. I used to tell people all the time, I go, if it says collectible on it, it's not rare.
Porcelain horses. Porcelain.
Right.
Yeah, there's a collectible.
Yes.
There it is.
Beautiful.
Priceless. That face is priceless.
That, of course, is
fucking porcelain
I was
horses
make a
that
joke
my mom bought for like $500 a piece. Worthless. Paperweights. That's all they are, paperweights. Worthless.
Yeah, I remember one guy in particular brought in all these die-cast NASCAR models, right?
Yeah.
They're, and these are numbered. They're limited edition. And I'm like, yeah, it don't matter. No one wants them.
No.
No one wants them. And
that's the thing. Let's say they only made one. If zero people want them, it's still worthless.
Right. Yeah. Or you'd get the customer. It's like, hey, I've got a bunch of, really hard to find video games. Okay, great. And then they want 90% of their value. It's like, no.
I got to make a profit too. That's what people don't.
Right. And that's the thing. By the time you either put it on the shelf and it sits there for 6 months, right, taking up shelf space, or you send it off to eBay, which is going to take massive chunks of profit out of you too. It's one of those things. So I think the internet really gave people this idea, because I remember there used to be all these clickbait articles like, oh, what's in your attic that's worth a fortune, right?
Oh,
and
God.
It would say a Sega Genesis recently sold at auction for $5,000. And it's like, yeah, you didn't say it was like a mint condition, never opened, pristine. You are talking like the most pristine examples of something, right?
Yeah.
Would sell for stupid amounts of money, probably graded nowadays by a grading company. But even then, that's been something that's been in existence for a while. You've been able to get old sealed video games graded for quite some time. And if you've got the cherry of the bunch, sure, you might be able to make a decent profit on it. But your old Sega Genesis that you and your brother threw out the trailer window, like one time when you got mad at him, it's worth $20. Sorry.
Yeah.
And that's probably not even that, because your controllers are likely busted and you don't even have the AC adapter.
Right.
So let's see. Brittany said that's if it's even real or true. People can literally say anything on the internet. Someone like me can edit Wikipedia. That's a great point. I used to tell people, go check the sold eBay listings and look for, the most recent examples and around the prices they're selling for in that condition, because that's your most accurate gauge of the market.
Well, that's the same thing. Like when I used to work at Geico, and they'd be like, they had to tell us what their car was worth, or they sold a car, and I forget why they had to tell us that, but they would always say Kelly Blue Book. Listen, Kelly Blue Book is worth as much as your toilet paper. All right, just use it for that instead. It's a worthless book, because what we paid out was fair value for roughly the same car in your town. So it has to do, like a Honda in some small town like us, like Batavia, it's the same car as it would be in New York City, but those prices are very different. Very different.
Yes.
So it's like, well, it's Kelly Blue Book. No one cares. No, you're gonna get $5. That's it. I don't care. Yeah,
I know. And it's funny because I'll see, and keeping with the internet theme here, like I will see so many. I was recently looking for a truck because I got taken to the cleaners on the one I bought, but that's another story.
Is that the one that exploded?
Yeah, it's the one that's got as many problems as I do. It's actually a very appropriate truck for me. But I see people. I recently saw one posted somewhere on Marketplace. It was like, it had 250,000 miles on it, and they wanted $14,000. I'm like, no one's paying $14,000 for that. They would have to be crazy.
Yeah.
Like I would have to be crazy or like on my deathbed and rich to just be like, yeah, okay, I need a truck for a day until I die. Like, let me pay $14,000 for that. And that's not a knock on the person that's selling it, but I think you have unrealistic expectations. Like, I've seen a bunch of them like that, where I was just like, I saw one with over 300,000 miles on it that they wanted $15,000 for out of Buffalo, I think. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, it was insane. So it's just one of those things where it makes you wonder, like, is the internet actually helping folks? And it's kind of taken away some of that, roadside quality, going to the yard sales and finding a decent deal, where those types of things helped you provide for your family, like something you couldn't otherwise. You know what I mean? Let's see.
I would say saturation.
You think so?
By far, saturation. Saturation. Yeah. Listen, and I'm speaking purely from like an artist comic book who needs to sell his skills kind of thing. Yes, it's made it easier, but it's just made it easier to post a resume of your work. But at the same time, now there's 6 billion of me looking for the same shit. And saturation's a killer. Just like the indie, just like the indie market. It's saturated. And all the numbers are dropping. Saturation's a fucking killer, dude.
Yeah.
Well, it's the easiest it's ever been. Yeah, we're flooded. And it's the worst economy it's ever been. Good luck.
That's why there's 4 people watching us, right? Because there's 150,000 other guys doing exactly what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we're entertaining, and I think most people who listen are probably not hating themselves. At least I hope not. Thank you for those who are tuning in.
Well, I mean, if they hear about your day, their day is going to be better automatically.
Yeah, absolutely. I should just like literally explain every messed up thing that happens on a daily basis.
It's got to be good for something, man.
Right, and just I'll make everyone feel instantly better about their lives. But at the same time, like, you have all these people that are producing, and people are just tuning it out. And it absolutely happened earlier today. Someone posted in my Godzilla group, which is exploding in members in just a few months since we started it because of the nonsense.
Well, it's a really good time for you to start that, though. Honestly,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We have 3,700 people, which
that's awesome.
It's not huge yet, but you're talking in the course of 3 months. Like, that's a pretty good growth rate.
Yeah, but I've seen some of the other Godzilla groups because I was posting there when we were launching Sector 7. I tried to find as many as possible. Dude, at least like 3 of maybe the 5 or 6 or 7, at least 3 of them is just full. Like, there's posts every day, but it's all like clickbait posts and shitty ads and political shit. Like, they're totally ruined and no one's moderating it.
And that's actually, that group is the reason why I started this new one, because I saw that group had 50,000 members that all hated it there because it was nothing but political posts and stuff like that. But someone posted a podcast in mine today. It was like the Call of the Kaiju, I think it was called, or something like that. And you know what? I felt sad because it's like, man, like, there's another, and it wasn't that I'm upset that they're doing it. Like, I want them to enjoy the fandom. If that's what makes them happy, more power to you. But I was just like, someone made the comment that, like, man, it seems everyone has a podcast nowadays. And it's like, yeah, I've got 2,
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where, and the other one, I think our best show had like 19 viewers at its peak or something like that. It's fun. I love doing this. Like, I think it's a lot of fun, and that's really where you got to be at. Like, I think that's where we're at, is we just enjoy shooting the breeze and talking to each other. So might as well do it on camera and hope some people
honestly
tune in.
Yeah, I mean, I dropped my own Friday show because I'm like, you know what, Friday, by the time I get through the week and I come home even though my Friday is actually Saturday because I work 6 days a week, when I come home on a Friday night, the last thing I want to do is get back on and talk to people. And because I talk to people all day long, I'm in customer service. And Friday is like the end of the week, and it was just difficult. It always ended up being a good show, but the fact is, like, there was just something about that one that I was just like, oh my God, like, I just want to sit down. I don't want to do anything else.
Sure.
And the show would actually snap me out of my mood within just a few minutes, and I would end up having a good time. But honestly, I needed something, and that's why I'm not going to ditch this one, because like, it's just easier doing it with you.
I agree. I mean?
It's just easier doing it with you. And honestly, the numbers don't justify me being like, oh my God, I just want to sit down. I don't want to do this. They don't justify it. So I'm like, fuck it. Right. I don't need 2 shows. I need 1 show with Matt. And then whatever we got to sell, whatever we're pushing, whoever we want to interview, we can do it here.
Right. And same thing, we also have if you do want to branch out, or, obviously I have the kaiju focused one, we can do that. I think honestly, if you do one separately, your best bet at getting people to tune in would be a draw stream. Like, people would watch.
I know. The problem is, again, I'm not drawing for me. I'm drawing for other people, and I can't show that work. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just can't. And I'm not going to do a draw. Like, I'm having trouble getting pages done now just because, like, my artwork got a little bit better after my neck injury. Like, I don't know why, but it got a little bit better. But now it's taking slightly more time. I'm putting more emphasis on page structure. So not just detail, but actually trying to get like the different variations of thick black and thin black and medium to create depth in each panel, trying to lead the eye better through each panel. So there's more thought that goes into a lot of it. It's not the detail, it's the structure that I've gotten better at. So it's actually taking a little bit more time to do these newer pages.
Right.
So it's like I just, whatever time I'm drawing, and until I get the store. When I get the store next year, when I get and I have a base of income, I won't have to draw for money. I can draw for our own projects. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
right.
until then, I like, thank God for Chris and thank God for Ginge. Ginge from the Ginge and Pedro show picked me up, and I'm going to be doing a horror book that he is writing.
Nice.
So I was really, check this shit out too, man. This is crazy. He just wrote me yesterday. I think it was yesterday. They tend to blur together. I think it was yesterday that the writer creator of Final Destination he had interviewed and kept in touch with, he's going to be editing Ginger's script for the book. So that's fucking cool. That's really cool.
That is cool. Very
cool.
While
I'm taking a break from Nano 13, while Chris is launching the first issue, I'll be working on Ginger's. I will have time to still do some extra covers and stuff. But again, like I can't do just, and I'm not even set up for a draw stream. I still haven't gotten the right thing because I don't draw on paper. I draw digitally. I know there's ways to set it up, but it's honestly, dude, I know it would be draw streams, but I do this stuff only to sell what only to sell what I do. It's the YouTube thing is not my passion. It's just not. I'm literally only here because I have to be to sell. That's just how you sell what you do now. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, you know what's funny is I get passionate about this stream because we're doing it together, and like I said, we can get together and talk all the time, and it just clicks. It just works. I'm passionate about my other one because I love giant monster stuff. I could talk about that all day, every day. If I had to consistently talk about movies that I dislike or things I dislike, like with anyone else, I'd probably get pretty bored, depending on who it is. But I don't do the whole like we've been on some shows and things like that, and some of them they stick to current events, and it just makes me miserable, right? It just makes me miserable.
It doesn't make me, the current event stuff doesn't make me miserable. I feel bad because I feel bad. Yeah, I feel bad because although I agree with what they talk about, the fact is I still don't think it's real. Like I literally, my base view is we live in the fucking Matrix. So I don't actually have a dog in the fight. Like I agree with right wingers more, but honestly, you know what? In 1990, guess what? I would have been considered a liberal when liberalism was normal back then.
You know what's blowing my mind? What is absolutely
a lot of us that would be considered classically liberal, unfortunately, got pushed into the right wing because it got so crazy. It doesn't make us right wingers. It's just that if you're forcing us into one camp, we just ended up in the right wing. But honestly, both wings are attached to one bird. I don't give a shit. I think it's all fake. I think we're in the Matrix. I think Trump's in on it. I don't fucking care. But if you want to talk about it, I'll talk about it. It doesn't make me miserable. It's just that I feel bad because I'm like, I almost like, guys, my true opinion is that it's not real. I don't care what you're talking about. It's not real to me.
I think it's real. I know. I think there's a lot of reality anyway, but and granted, I don't think everything is I'm not so naive to think that everything we're told is just fact, right? That's not what I'm saying. But I also recognize that honestly, even if it's not, there's not a darn thing I can do about it, and I don't care. Like it's just
and there's not. And I used to try. I mean, you know how I was. I was very adamant. I always shared my opinions and tried to get people to believe the truth. And I'm like, you know what? There's actually more people that know what I'm talking about now, and things are getting worse. It's not getting better. It's like, I don't think it's my job to preach to people because it doesn't do anything. I like I said, I think we're in a simulation. I think reality is running a script, and you have some control over your own bubble, but the larger simulation is running a show. And
honestly, it's kind of weird because in a weird sort of way, and you know, obviously I have my own views and things like that. It kind of almost sounds like you're describing like God's sovereignty kind of thing, which is oddly enough, like almost like something that aligns with like, yeah, like honestly, I don't have to worry about it because, you know, something bigger than me is in control of it. Right. And I
totally. And you know what? Hey, I obviously, you know, you're Christian, I'm not, but because of the basis of what we believe, we just don't really, I don't want to say we disagree because we've never had a disagreement. It's just opinions. We quote unquote disagree on who or what's in control, but the control is still there. I still believe we have very little control over our reality. And personal bubble.
Right. And that's all I try to really control. So,
and I could be wrong. You could be completely right. I just don't know. I literally don't really know anything anymore. So it's like to say, you know, the left's doing this. No, yeah, they are doing that, but I don't know. I guess that's just the next page in the book. I mean, I don't even think they know what they're doing.
Right. To your point though, where the left, you know, you would have considered yourself traditionally liberal 20 years ago.
In the 90s, yeah.
Like I heard Bill Maher speak the other day, and I mean, a lifelong self-proclaimed liberal, and I couldn't believe how much he sounds like the right nowadays. Like he really does sound more right-wing than left, and it's really interesting. And I just don't care enough to. I'm not going to die on either hill because I like to think that I'm smart enough to where if I disagree with something that one side's doing, I'm going to just say I disagree with. I'm not going to justify it because that's my team. You know what I mean? And that's what I see is like there's this blind sort of devotion. But you know, getting kind of back to where we started, like
where were we?
Yeah. We're talking about collecting with, you know, in terms of the internet's effect on that. And
it's made it less fun. It's made it for me, it's the same as anything digital. Because when I was a kid in the 90s or in the 80s and you wanted the next movie to come out, you wished that you could immediately just zap it right onto your TV. You wish that you could, and you couldn't do it. But just like anything else, when you get older, you realize that's what made it fucking special.
Right.
It made it special when you had to know what time it was on. And if you missed it, you missed it. So it's a big deal when you catch it. And now instant stuff, it's not the same, man. There's a level of excitement. And just like you with thrifting, there's a level of excitement when you're there and you see something that you didn't type in. It's just sitting there and you're like, holy shit, look at this. That is objectively missing from the internet.
And like when I was growing up, again, me being the massive Godzilla freak that I am, like going into Ames and looking for VHSs that I didn't have,
man. Yeah.
Like I can distinctly remember finding multiple kaiju films for the first time just by walking into a video store or like a department store or going into a rental place and finding it. Like oddly enough, those are distinct memories for me. Whereas now, could I tell you the first time I saw one of the new shorts streamed online? Probably not. Like that doesn't stand out to me. And you're right. Like I can type in anything I want to eBay almost without exception. There have been rare occasions where there's something I've really like wanted that was really super obscure and they won't have it, but I can type in almost anything to Google that I'm interested in and probably find an option to buy it. I may have to pay a premium for it, depending on how rare and how sought after it is. But there was something really special about it. It's not fun to buy something for its value. It's just not.
Yeah.
It is fun to find the deal. And that gives you a bit more of a rush. And they're just super hard to find nowadays. Like every once in a while, you'll find one on some of the lesser known sites. They do happen on Facebook Marketplace, but Marketplace is so saturated with like, I mean, let's face it, there are people that literally just sit there all day and hit refresh. Like I have literally messaged someone just on accident within seconds of them posting it. I just happened to be checking at that time, and they've already got 2 people in front of me. Like I'm sitting there going, what are people doing? Like, how do you get there that fast?
Yeah.
And I'm no slouch at typing. So it's like, man, oh man, like it's hard to believe that it happens that quickly, but it does. And it's kind of just one, it does make finding a good deal that much more exciting. But also like it makes it frustrating more often than not.
For me, that's infuriating. For me, that makes me, because with my personality, I'm just like, whenever things tend to get too difficult, I'm like, fuck it, I don't even give a shit anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, maybe it's not the best personality, I get it, but I'm just, I can get easily overwhelmed, and I'm like, that fuck it just kind of saves my that like the fuck it really, it saves my mental mental frustration, because that shit drives me crazy. Like when like you said, you just saw it, there's already 2 people there talking to the guy. Like, what fucking chance do I have? Like, fuck it, I'm done, you know?
Right,
that would make
right.
Really, because there are, like you said, there's literally people at home with like a wrist guard because they got carpal tunnel and fucking just hit and refresh. You know what I mean? That's fucking crazy.
Right. Yeah, it's really insane to be competing so often. And it could be something like collectible. It could be something that you really need. There were so many times where it's like, man, I really need this. Whatever just got posted, it's a good deal. I'm just trying to, provide something for my family or whatever. Sure enough, sorry, someone's already, it's already pending. Oh, of course it is. So Facebook is really frustrating. Craigslist is only used by people old enough to remember what the classified ads are nowadays, or people that try to dox people, because that's apparently still a thing.
Still a thing, right?
Yeah, I know firsthand. Going back to, let me tell you, you won't feel so bad about your life. Yes. And it's like, yay.
Yeah.
Someone felt the need to share my information on the internet, because that's cool. And and then so Craigslist is completely out of the game. You do find some deals on some of the other apps once in a while, because what you usually get is people using them that for whatever reason don't know any better. Like I don't know. And sometimes they'll post something for below market value. I agree, Britt. Doxers are gross. And I definitely would argue with them too, for sure. But it is frustrating. It does happen, but you got to get real lucky, and you got to be in the right place at the right time. When the stars align,
the right place at the right time. Does that sound like us, Matt? Does that sound like we?
Not my life, not usually.
No, that's not my stars. Yeah, that's not my star chart.
So even now with the internet, and I think it's even changed how brick and mortar stores work.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, absolutely, dude.
Because now when a new toy is getting released, you have every scalper on the planet waiting to go to Walmart and clean out their shelf of whatever it is, so they can go and flip it for 3 times as much on the internet. And that really upsets me. Like, this one will get me fired up, because that just drives me insane. Like, I've been noticing Hot Wheels especially has released all these Godzilla themed cars and stuff like that. And I have managed to find a couple of them of the variations. And then, well, actually, one's not even a Hot Wheel. The one I found was a Johnny Lightning. But they have a Godzilla monster truck. They have a Godzilla-themed Hot Wheels, like Matchbox car, even though those are not the same brand, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They have several variations of this monster truck. One's huge. I can't find that anywhere because the one day I was in Walmart and I saw a guy literally taking all the branded ones in triplicate and, for no other reason than to go home and flip them. And, you go home and you find dollar Hot Wheel cars on sale. Well, buy it from me for $10 plus shipping. And it's like, that's not fun. Like, and one, yes, I'm a collector, but so are my kids. So
yeah.
I want to buy, before I get one, I'm buying my son a monster truck. I'm buying my son a Hot Wheels car, those types of things. So it's really, frustrating. The Ninja Turtles re-releases. Have you seen those?
No.
No, they actually have a line. Playmates has a line of the original Turtles figures. Okay. They're not exact. Some of them have slightly different or altered sculpts and paint jobs and things like that. But the packaging looks original. It's very, very nice actually, and they're super affordable. They are less than $10 at Walmart per figure.
Oh, nice!
Which is crazy.
It's unheard of now. Yeah.
Yeah. Nowadays, to find a decent action figure for less than $10 is a huge deal, especially if they're collectible in any sense of the word. Nice, Pops. Yeah, no, I collect everything in triplicate now anyway, because I've got two sons. So I know, it's all going to them one day anyway. But the thing was, these figures almost right away, like you had to fight to get all the harder to find. Like there's some they'll come multiple to a case or whatever, and then some only will have one or something like that. Yeah. And all the rare ones are getting bought up before you can get to them, and you're finding them being flipped online. Actually, I just saw one the other day. It was a Hot Wheels monster truck of the Wienermobile that someone was trying to sell online. This was a $4 car at Walmart. $30 they're for online.
Yeah.
And honestly, no one's going to pay that because even eBay's cheaper than that. But still, they were like $15. And that I'm sitting there going, it just takes the fun out of it. Rod keeps his son's stuff.
I do, dude. If I see something I want, like his Godzilla stuff, if I see something I want, and it's like, let's say it's on the floor, and it's just missing an arm or something, I'm like, fuck this. So I take it, I find the arm, put it back together, I put it on my shelf. It's like, it's mine now. It's mine now. I actually had, remember that Gigan that you bought him? I've had that on my shelf before. He keeps taking it back though.
That's funny. That's funny. What's hilarious about that is when I was younger and I was collecting, Matty, when he was a little kid, used to get into my stuff all the time. And there are things that I look back on and I'm like, wow, I don't have that anymore. Cause he would just either break it and play with it or lose pieces and, or open stuff that was sealed. I had some original figures. I had, now this is before the movies. Okay. Before the movies, I had an original 90s, early 90s Deadpool, figure. I think it was from X-Force.
Yeah, he would have been from X-Force.
Yeah. Awesome, Brittany.
Was it like the little, 5.5 inch, the little 5.5 inch one?
Yeah, and his mask could come off.
I didn't have that one. I had a different
one.
Okay.
So this one, whatever one, he could take his mask off. He looked super deformed. And yeah, I see that, Britt. I'll definitely make sure the kids and I are there. We'll make that happen. And that, but with that, I remember that was stuffed away in the attic somewhere. One day I just went to his room and he had it opened and playing with it. I'm like,
Oh,
I had several of the original, not the remakes, the original Ninja Turtles figures still sealed. That would be worth probably, a whole bunch today. I busted those open. I remember so much stuff just got opened or played with, and it's like, you learn to I learned back then to let go of the idea that things were going to stay pristine forever, because it just doesn't work out that way.
Not with kids.
No, not with kids. I do have some stuff I've managed to keep really nice. I actually have a really cool giant monster collection that I've been putting together for years and years and years. But even then, like a little character on a figure, it's cool just to have the figure, even if it's not perfect, for sure.
All right, man. That is the hour. That is our Monday. There you go.
It is.
Now you have something. Do you still do your kaiju one with your friend? Is it every week?
We're trying. He started a new job recently, so he has just been swamped. I do plan on doing one this week, so if you want to join me for that would be great. I'm gonna reach out to a couple other guy. I am going to reach out to John and see if he's available at all this week, but you're more than welcome to join. And, regardless, I do plan on doing one and getting back on that horse, because I just needed a little bit of this week's a little messed up too, because grades are due. So I am I'm swamped trying to get final grades and reports in, and but
all right, man.
If you want to join me, on over.
All right. Well, it was good seeing you. Always good talking to you, buddy.
You as well.
I will. I'll talk to you sometime this week, I'm sure. And thanks for joining, everyone. Appreciate it. And we will see you next week. You can roll us out, Brett.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.